What's up, everybody? You're watching Panther Sports Network. This is our NBA mid-season show. We did a show at the beginning of the season. Now we're going to take a look at what has transpired up to the All-Star break. I'm Brian Batko.
I'm Lucy Matz.
I'm Simarath Randhawa.
All right, we're going to go ahead and start with what else. Talk about the Carmelo Anthony trade that just went down between the Knicks and the Denver Nuggets. The Knicks giving up a lot, including their starting point guard, Raymond Felton, Danilo Gallinari, a couple other role players on the team that Denver's probably going to like to have in exchange for Carmelo. Guys, do you think that the Knicks really got a lot better with Carmelo, or did they give up too much?
They did give up a lot. They pretty much cut their team to shreds. However, I think even though it was a risky move, it will work out well for them. I think that we're seeing a trend with big stars coming together, and I think with the 2012 free agency coming up, that could possibly cause another three-headed monster similar to Miami. So I definitely think it's going to change the game for the New York Knicks.
Well, I think the thing to remember is when they're talking about how much the Knicks gave up, the best guy they gave up was Wilson Chandler, and he was a free agent at the end of the year anyway, so they were going to lose him anyway. So essentially, they gave him up for Danilo Gallinari and that Timothy Moscow. For Anthony, and then they substituted Felton and Billups. It was like an equal trade-off. So I think overall for Anthony, just those two players, that's a good trade. But I think this helps the Knicks a little bit. I don't think they're there yet. They're still not the level of the Heat, the Celtics, and that like. I think, like she said, 2012, we'll see if Chris Paul can come there. It's going to be tough with the new CBA, trying to get the salaries all to match. But I think the Knicks made some big progress with this trade.
Yeah, I think it definitely helps the Knicks out in the short term. Anytime you can get a guy like Carmelo Anthony on your team, you have to do it. That's what a lot of the Knicks upper management thought. But I'll tell you what, they really did give up a lot, including some first-round draft picks. Basketball is a team game, so we'll see what happens in the long run. But now we're going to go ahead and move on to some of our selections for mid-season awards. Why don't we just start with mid-season Rookie of the Year? Is anybody picking against Blake Griffin?
No.
No.
Well, there you have it. Blake Griffin has been a beast this year in the NBA. Doesn't look anything like a rookie. Of course, he made the All-Star game last weekend, so that's a sweep right there. Blake Griffin for Rookie of the Year so far in the NBA. Don't see anyone taking that from him. All right, and now we'll go ahead and give our selections for Coach of the Year. Lucy, why don't we start with you?
Okay, I'm going to go with Tom Thibodeau for the Chicago Bulls. He worked so hard all these years with Boston as an assistant, and he's finally gotten his chance to be head coach of the Bulls. And he's leading one of the top defensive teams in the league right now. And I think that he wants to win. He's so focused, and he has mentors like Doc Rivers that he's an exceptional coach, and he deserves to win this award for the Coach of the Year.
Thibodeau's done a great job, but I'm going to go with Greg Popovich from the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs last year, 51 team, didn't go too far in the playoffs, swept by the Suns. They've come completely back this year with just basically the same kind of roster. Even though Tim Duncan's starting to decline a little bit, Ginobili, Parker, they're all starting to pick it up. They find, of course, their gems like DeJuan Blair, Gary Neal, at the end of the draft like they always do. They're 46-10 as of last week. That is just ridiculous for a team that really has no superstar. If you look at their roster compared to other teams, it's not that great. I don't know how they're doing it, but you got to give credit to Pops again. He's doing a fantastic job. Spurs by far and away the best team in the West right now.
Yeah, both of those guys certainly doing a great job. Tom Thibodeau was a great hire for the Chicago Bulls, and of course Popovich always making it work with the San Antonio Spurs somehow. But my pick for midseason Coach of the Year, it's kind of a memorial selection. I'm going with former Utah Jazz coach Jerry Sloan. Now I know you're thinking, how can you pick him? He's not even a coach anymore. But he spent so many years in the league. He resigned from Utah a few weeks ago under some kind of unsettling circumstances. He was by far the longest tenured coach in the NBA and one of the greatest. Anyone that follows the league will tell you that. So that's my memorial selection for midseason Coach of the Year. Good old Jerry Sloan. Now let's go ahead and move along to Most Improved Player of the Year award. A lot of candidates for this one. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm going with Kevin Love from Minnesota. He was the final All-Star chosen to play in the All-Star game, replacing Yao Ming. And he was a top rebounder in this game. He actually doubled his average points from the first season from 11 to 21, which is really impressive. And it's only the midpoint of the season, so I'm sure he's going to continue being a strong player.
This was a tough one for me. I think it came down to Russell Westbrook and Derrick Rose. I'm going to go with Derrick Rose. If you just look at everything he's done for that team, he continues to evolve. Doesn't necessarily show him the stats that much, but if you just look at how much he's helped the Bulls, takes all the big shots, he's embraced Thibodeau's new style of defense, of toughness. He's the leader of that team. They follow him. Just look at the Bulls' record. I think that's what separates him from Westbrook. The Bulls are clearly a better team from last year, even though they've missed Noah for a bunch of time. They've missed Boozer for a lot of the time. The Bulls at a different level. They're legitimate contenders for this year and for many years afterwards. It's all because of Rose. Rose has become a true franchise player now.
Yeah, this was a tough one. A lot of guys in the league have made kind of a great leap forward this season. In addition to the two guys I'm about to talk about, you have LaMarcus Aldridge from the Portland Trail Blazers having a great year, and even Eric Gordon, guard on the Los Angeles Clippers. But to me, it really came down to two guys. Russell Westbrook, like you said, Simrath, point guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's really improved his all-around game and become one of the best point guards in a point guard-happy league right now. And then, of course, Kevin Love from the Minnesota Timberwolves. I personally couldn't pick against Love. He's just been dynamite this year. The rebounding stats are just absurd. It seems like ESPN comes up with a different crazy stat to show just how well this guy is rebounding every week. He's really the only player those Minnesota Timberwolves have. I feel bad for him that he has to be on such a horrible team, but I really don't see how you can go against Kevin Love. He's just made great strides this year, and he was pretty good last year, but he's just unreal this year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and make our selections for mid-season MVP. Who do you think's been the best up until this point, guys?
All right, you have to go with Kevin Durant. Last year, he was second place, and I think this year he's definitely going to beat out LeBron James because, unlike LeBron, he doesn't have two other all-stars helping him, so he definitely deserves this award.
Well, we all hate him, but I think we have to go with LeBron James here. There's no doubt. If you just look at it, look at all the advanced stats, there's no doubt LeBron James influences the game more than anybody else in the NBA. Great passer, great rebounder, finishes. He's also become a great defender. He's led Miami's you charge defense. That's what everybody was worried about. They had all these stars. How are they going to play defense? He's embraced defense. I think overall, when you just look at LeBron James, he does so many different things for the Heat. Without them, they would just not be the same team. I know they have Wade and Bosh, but James is what makes the Heat tied for the top record, I think, right now with the Celtics.
Hate is a strong word, Simrath. I don't know if I'd go that far. But I'm not picking LeBron for my midseason MVP. I'm actually going with Simrath's choice for most improved player of the season, Derrick Rose. He's just been really, really good for the Chicago Bulls this year. I think he might be the best point guard in the league right now. He's a score-first guy, but you know what? That's what that team needs. They're getting Joakim Noah back. I think he's going to make them really a legit title contender. And it's not just the scoring. Even though he's averaging 24.5 points per game, he seems to just always turn it on in the fourth quarter when they need him to. So I'm going with Derrick Rose, a young guy, but certainly one of this league's future superstars, if he isn't already. So now for our last segment, we'll just go ahead and give you our top 5 teams right now in the NBA, regardless of conference, throwing out Eastern, Western Conference. Who do you guys rank as the top 5 right now, starting with number 5?
Okay. Number 5, I have Los Angeles. They are doing under par right now, but they're still a top team. They are the defending champions, and Kobe Bryant is not going to give up this early in the game. So I have them as number 5. For number 4, I have Chicago, because under the direction of Thibodeau, they are rising as a top team. Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah, especially he's coming back, they're going to be really tough, I think, and they're developing as a team, but they're not quite there yet. For 3rd, I have San Antonio, and although they are the first-ranked team right now, they're very mechanical, but I don't have them as the best team. For 2nd, I have Miami. Actually, it was kind of a toss-up between Boston and Miami, but I think that they're going to fall to Boston in the Eastern Finals. They do have a lot of star power, but I'm not sure if that's enough for them. And at 1st, I do have Boston. I think that they're such a veteran team. They've been in the situation before. They're ready. They have great chemistry. They're ready for playoffs. And the only concern right now is their injury count, because they do have a lot of guys down. But I think that they're going to take the East.
Well, number 5 was between 3 teams for me: the Bulls, the Thunder, and the Lakers. I'm gonna go with the Bulls. I think defense wins in the NBA, and the Bulls have become a very, very good defensive team. Now they're getting Noah back, the guy who drives their defense. They've had a great year so far. I think legitimately in the playoffs they can make a push and maybe even give the Heat and the Celtics a run for their money. At number 4, I'm going to go with the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know how they're doing it, but just look at how they're playing right now. They're playing very, very well. when Nowitzki's in the lineup. They're one of the best teams in the league. Both times he's been in the lineup, they've gone on huge streaks. When he was not in the lineup was when they went on their huge slump. But their roster isn't that great. They do need to make a move, but right now they're playing too well. Their defense has been very good. With number 3, I'm gonna go with the Miami Heat. I think Miami Heat have turned it around after a slow start. They're playing good defense. Wade, Bosh, LeBron are clicking, but there's just something about them I don't like. They can't beat the Celtics. I don't know what's wrong with them. They don't have enough size. They lack a point guard for some reason. But I think as long as they can't beat the Celtics, I'm gonna have to keep them at number 3. Number 2, I'm gonna go with Boston. They're so good at everything. They play great defense. They have so many weapons on offense. Rajon Rondo has now become the leader of this team, taking over the big 3. I think they're easily the best team in the Eastern Conference. And at number 1, I'm going to go with the San Antonio Spurs. Look at their record. They're unreal right now. As I said before, they don't have any star player, but Popovich finds a way to get this team going. Duncan is slowed down, but that hasn't stopped them at all. I think right now you have to go with the Spurs. They have the best record. Right now they're the best team in the league to me.
Yeah, starting with number 5, I was tempted to put the Los Angeles Lakers here, but I just couldn't put a team that just lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers in my top 5. So the Lakers are out for me. Number 5, I actually have the Oklahoma City Thunder. They don't have the best record in the West, but I really think this team's going to come on strong down the stretch. They have youth, they have talent, and they have Kevin Durant. That always helps. Number 4, I have the Chicago Bulls. I think once Joakim Noah does come back, though, this team could definitely rise in my rankings. Derrick Rose is my midseason MVP. Like you guys both said, they're a great defensive team. They could be definitely a scare for some teams in the playoffs. Number 3, I have the Boston Celtics. They are getting up there in age, but that's just a really tough team. They have so much experience. They're going to be tough to beat. Number 2, I have the San Antonio Spurs. As I said earlier, Popovich doing a great job with them. They really have a ton of pieces that you need to build a winning team. I think they're going to keep rolling as this season progresses. And number 1, I have everyone's team that they love to hate, as you said, Simrath, the Miami Heat. They're just starting to click now. They started off this season rough, like I predicted they would in our preseason show, but they're really starting to come together now as they learn to play with each other. LeBron, Wade, Bosh, they're the big 3, and I think they're the best team in the league right now. So that's going to do it for us here at Panther Sports Network with our NBA mid-season show, preview of the rest of the way, whatever you want to call it. Thanks so much for watching. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Go give that a look. For Lucy Matz and Simrath, I'm Brian Batko. Thank you.